Welcome back to Solid. I am your host, Kay Miller, rapid reprogramming coach and intuitive business guide for your soul-led business. And today I am so excited to be joined by a special guest, Rebecca Wolf, who is a divorce recovery coach who helps women rewire their thoughts, rebuild their confidence, and create a life that they truly love after divorce. With a background in human biology, Rebecca spent over 25 years as a corporate scientist and an auditor before leaving that world to go full-time into coaching. She is a certified life coach with additional certifications in rapid reprogramming and Heartwork journaling. She is passionate about using brain science to help women heal and move forward. And when she is not coaching, you can find her running, reading, meditating, or embracing her creative side with a journal or a doodle pad. And she is a proud mom to two adult kids, 26 and 24, and two dogs. And also, Rebecca is a graduate of the Soul-Led CEO framework, and I could not be more proud to have her here with us today to share her incredible work, her message, and her light. So, Rebecca, thank you so much for being here and joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Kay. I'm so excited to see you again and be here on your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. So, why don't you tell us more about your work and how you help other women?
So, like you said, I am a divorce coach, but not in the legal sense. I help women start picking up the pieces after divorce and building a life that feels better for them and often better than before. So, not just okay or meh, but truly fulfilling. A lot of women come to me feeling lost, stuck, like they'll never feel happy again. And so my job, my soul's job, is to show them that their brain is actually wired for healing, that they just need the right tools to start shifting away from all the pain and into the growth and healing that they really want. So in my practice, I use a mix of neuroscience, mindset work, and practical strategies to help women break free from the pain of divorce and start moving forward with confidence and peace. My Bounce Back Better program is designed to take them through that process step by step beyond just surviving divorce. And they come out stronger and more confident and excited about their futures. It's amazing to be a part of that.
Yeah, that is wonderful. I love two things. One, that you said your soul's purpose, that, like this is your soul's job, is to help them to understand that their brain is wired for healing and that they can create the healing that they need and the life that they want. And then that's the other thing too, divorce really breaks you down, right? Like it just, not to say we are broken, but it's the reason why we break is to rebuild stronger and better. And that is what you help them to see and to do. And it's just so wonderful. I love it.
Yeah. And, at the beginning of the process, the divorce process, it does feel broken. And the women that are going through that, they don't know and they don't understand that it's for their own good. It is a way to bring the pieces back together and to heal. Yeah.
So what about we talked a little bit about your soul's purpose in that and your mission. So what about your mission and your path that has led you here? Can you tell us?
Yeah. So like most people in this space, I didn't just wake up one day and decide I'm going to leave my corporate job and become a divorce coach, right? So I got here because I went through it myself. My own divorce and especially the infidelity that came before it really took me out. And I struggled for a long time to just stay afloat. I had really never experienced grief and fear on that level before. And at the time of my divorce, I was working in a pretty high pressure corporate job. And to make things even harder, my ex-husband worked for the same company where we had both spent over 25 years. So I was working as a scientist and then later as a scientific auditor. Science has always been a huge part of my life. So my formal education is in biological sciences, but like all of us, nowhere in school did they teach me or anyone else that I know of how to manage a divorce, either physically, financially, or the emotional fallout that comes with it. And that was something that I had to figure out on my own. I had support, but there's a right path for everyone. Everyone's divorce is different. So, because of that scientific background, my brain just naturally turns situations and problems into experiments. I'm pretty nerdy that way. So, when I was struggling after my own divorce, I started approaching healing the way I would a complex problem, breaking it down, testing out different strategies to find out what actually worked for me. In general, that I'm an introvert, and that is how I typically go about problem solving. So I learned everything I could about how the human brain works, not everything there is to know, but enough,
Right. Yeah.
and neuroplasticity and emotional resilience. And the biggest takeaway from all of that reading and research was basically like, we're not stuck with the thoughts and beliefs that we have. They're not really hardwired in there. We can actually change the wiring. We can rewire our brains to work for us instead of against us. And it's science. It's proven. And it's not just, I felt like people wanted me to believe that and to think that, but it's actually, it's true. It's one of the biggest things that helped me heal. So once I figured out that was the key,
Mhm.
and I figured out how to begin making those internal changes. Um, and I was able to truly heal and rebuild my life in a way that feels amazing. And I knew I had to help other women do the same thing.
Yeah.
All along, I just, I don't want other women who are getting divorced to feel, number one, all alone in it, and be completely hopeless, that there's no way to make their circumstances better.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And it occurred to me as you were talking about the rewiring part of it, in respect of what you do, this actually helps people to not repeat the same patterns. Because that's you and I, as like brain coaches, people, like we understand this. Our brain and our emotional patterns and our belief system is actually what brings and creates more of those reality moments. Okay, that didn't quite come out right, but it creates the reality, the lens that we see our world through. And if you're not healing these things, these patterns, these belief systems, they're going to keep recurring until you learn the lesson.
I
So,
think that's
yeah.
one of my clients' biggest fears is getting into another relationship
Mm-hmm.
after a divorce. And once they go through the program, they realize how they have control of their thoughts. So it's not possible to make the same mistakes again.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So healing is reassurance that not necessarily that we won't be hurt again, but that
Right.
you're moving forward and into a better place. And I love how you've just, it can, the manifestation, but it's scientific.
Yeah. There's absolutely no guarantee for anyone that you're not going to get hurt. But you can teach your body how to not let that break you again and again and again.
That is good. Yes. So good. You can teach your body how to not let that break you again and again and again.
Yeah. Because truly, you're going to get hurt again. Everybody is. That's life.
Yep. Resilience. Yes. And not being triggered by those things. Taking away this means that I'm not good enough. that I didn't do enough, right? We're taking away those thoughts and those beliefs. And so with that in mind, what advice do you have for women who are currently going through a divorce or finding themselves again after divorce?
Yeah. So first, definitely to be patient with yourself. Divorce isn't just about the relationship ending. It's a complete identity shift. And so it makes total sense if you feel lost, overwhelmed, and unsure of what's coming next. Second, don't believe every thought you have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain is in survival mode. So it's going to tell you a lot of things that are not 100% true. Like, I'll never be happy again. I'll always be alone. Men are evil. Those thoughts feel real. I know they do because I had them, but they're just part of your brain trying to protect you. It's doing its job. So the best way to start is to just focus on really tiny shifts, not huge leaps. You don't have to have your entire life figured out today, even though you really want to. You can't go from survival mode to thriving in a day. It doesn't happen. So focus on one small thing that makes you feel better. And on day one, it might just be taking a deep breath, or pausing for a while until you look at your social media feed or the text message that you just got. Healing isn't about one big moment. Like, it's not a big bang and then you're healed. It's about choosing to focus on yourself and your future beyond divorce a little more each day.
Yeah. I love that. Yes. Healing is not a big bang. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's a process every day. And every day we have the opportunity to choose again, right? If we made a choice that we weren't proud of the day before, well, tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah, you can't mess it up.
Yeah.
You just have to keep going.
Yes. You cannot mess it up.
You can't mess it up.
Yeah. So Rebecca is, as I said before, she's a graduate of the Solid CEO program, and I'm going to let her tell us a little bit about her experience with it and what prompted her decision to join.
Yeah. So after my divorce, I ended up leaving my corporate job actually on my 50th birthday to go full time into my coaching business. And there were many reasons, but one of the biggest ones was that I was committed, and I still am committed, to living a balanced life on purpose. And that was just becoming impossible for me in the corporate world that I was living in.
Yeah.
I didn't want to feel like I was constantly hustling or doing things that didn't feel natural to me. And as you can imagine, well, as you know, Kay, I came away from that long career carrying a lot of baggage from the high pressure culture that I had been living in for so long. And so when you have your own business, I didn't really understand this before I actually had my own business, but you have to be both a good boss to yourself and a good employee for yourself. And that was a whole new challenge. And because that's just two of the many, many hats that you wear as a solopreneur.
For sure. Yes.
So while I knew how to help other women balance their nervous system after divorce and toxic marriages, even trauma, this was a new experiment for me. Learning how to regulate my own nervous system in this new situation so I could serve my clients without running myself into another breakdown or into complete burnout.
Yes.
So I joined Soul-Led CEO because I wanted to build a business that actually felt good to
Mhm.
me. I didn't want to have a business that felt like I was right back in the corporate world because that was defeating the whole purpose. That would not have been worth it. So I wanted to create a business where I could show up for myself, make a real impact and not burn out. And I think that's what Soul Led CEO was about
Yeah.
and definitely helped me on this entrepreneurial journey.
Yay. I love that. I love that. In thinking about, as we were talking about before, the beliefs and our thought processes and the patterns that you are helping women to reprogram in divorce recovery, with the same thing with this, right? So we leave the corporate world and you still have all of that thought, that hustle, that is wired into our body and into our brain. And so until you can reprogram that, you're going to create the same thing in the business. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So thank you for leaning into that and yeah, expressing that in your words.
Yeah.
And what is it long run, because it's been a year or so since
Yeah.
we've met. So tell us, like, what has it helped you to achieve in the long
Honestly, a greater sense of freedom in my life and in my business, freedom from guilt, from overworking, from feeling like I constantly have to be on to be successful. It helped me trust myself more to create a unique business that fits my unique life so that it wouldn't take over my life. And it helped me build business routines that actually work for me and my unique business. And I think personally, one of the biggest shifts for me was learning how to let go of um, the the pressure I was putting on myself from being a perfectionist. I used to feel like I had to do everything right to succeed. I used to feel like I had to do everything all at once, like I had to do everything by myself to make sure that it was right. But now I know that the more I just show up as me, the better things will flow. Yeah, it's been really peaceful and calm, and it
Nice.
feels right now.
That makes me just so happy to hear, because we all want, I think that that's the reason when we branch out and create a business for ourselves, it is for freedom, to be able to create when we feel inspired and what we feel inspired to create, and having that freedom. And so, yeah, the calm and the peace and the
Mhm.
flow.
And
What you just said about, like, being able to take away the perfectionism and instead show up as you, like, build this business that is in ways that are unique to you, and it feels freeing.
it does.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes. I love it. Yeah. Um, yeah. And I think so many women can relate to that as well. With the perfectionism and the needing to feeling like we need to do everything, because that's how I know it's going to get done. And that's how I know it's going to get done right.
Yeah.
That's a
As
very
if there's a
true.
right way to do it. But
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
And then recognizing that you need support and want support, and then actually being willing to allow ourselves to have support, are two very different things.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, tell our listeners where they can find you.
So I have a private Facebook group called Bounce Back Better, which is for women who are healing after divorce. It is women only.
Mhm.
My website is RebeccaWolfCoaching.com, WOLF.
Mhm.
And right now, the best way to get in touch with me is to join my email list. And I think we can drop a link for that in the comments, right, Kay?
Yes, absolutely.
So I have a free resource called the Divorce Comeback Guide, and we'll put a link for that in the comments. When you download the guide. You'll also be on my email list. So if you're ready to start rebuilding your life after divorce, I know your audience is probably primarily business owners, but if you're in the position where you are facing a divorce and ready to start rebuilding, I'd love to chat about my Bounce Back Better program. I'd love for you to download the free guide. Because truly it is all about rewiring your thoughts so that you can rebuild your confidence and create a life that you actually love again. Download the guide, find me on my website, or you can email me, DM me, just the words bounce back, and I'll reach out personally.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. So anybody who is finding themselves in this place, or if you are listening to this and you find yourself in this place in the future, then you know where to go. Rebecca will help you to reprogram your thoughts so that you do not have to feel alone, and you do not have to feel alone in the struggle that you are going through, because it is really tough. All of us deserve to feel supported through this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you could leave us with one message for women who dream of bringing their soul-led business to life, what would it be?
It's almost just like getting through a divorce. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. You just have to decide to start. So if you feel pulled towards something, whether it's coaching or creating or just bringing something new into the world, trust that feeling and take one step, one baby step, then another. And the right people, the right lessons, and the right opportunities will show up when you do.
Yes, exactly. I could not have said it better. The right thing will show up when you're ready. You just have to make the choice, one step.
Absolutely.
So, Rebecca, thank you so much for being on. Thank you for sharing with us today. And it was just so lovely to just be back in your presence and your energy and see you and catch up. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kay. And thank you for all the ways that you helped me and for continuing on the journey and helping other women.
Thank you. I love that. Rebecca, thank you so much. And we will see you all again soon.